Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the 2020 Genesis G70. This one's finished in Adriatic blue, very interesting color, but what's more important is this particular G70 has the 3.3 liter turbo and it's in the Prestige trim level, which pretty much top of the line, pretty much. So, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the car, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to the Hyundai here in Southtown / Genesis in Sandy, same dealership, for providing us with the car. I'm going to include a link to their Hyundai inventory and their Genesis inventory if you're interested in either. Definitely check them out. Let's get into the video. Under the hood here we have a 3.3 liter twin turbo V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy 17 around town and 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 365 horsepower and then 376 pound-feet of torque, just like the Kia Stinger, because it's the same engine. Let's go over things on the front end of the G70 Prestige. So the hood is just like all the other G70s, nothing has changed there. And then I love everything with the lights. You got the projector bulbs, and then you got like those little LED accents, and then you got more just down below. It's a really cool look in general. And then the whole front grille, how they integrate the little sensor as part of the grille, I think it's pretty interesting, and I think it looks good in general. But yeah, the front end, I mean, it looks just like any other G70 pretty much. It's just that this color is interesting, the Adriatic blue. It looks like black from some angles, but then other angles it looks like blue, and it makes sense. It's kind of like, if you look at it from here, it almost looks like the ocean, where it's just like that deep dark blue, which I think is awesome that they were able to capture that in the paint color. Coming around the side here, we've got two 25mm tires and 19-inch rims in the front and in the back, and I love the design on these rims. It's just really cool. It's like a giant spider. Again, we're going with the comparisons here, but we do get Brembo brakes on it, and they got this cool little vent here on the side. You can kind of see the venting right when you look inside of it, and they got this like chrome strip under the mirror, chrome door handles, all that kind of stuff. And then I am going to just show you guys kind of like the whole profile on the G70 here. Here's the key fob for the G70 Prestige. So we've got a couple of functions. You've got your unlock, your lock, and then the opening for the trunk, which we are going to do. It is automated, and there's a button that I'll show you guys later where you can actually lower it back down, which I think is pretty neat. But regardless of that, looking in the trunk itself, you can see there's a decent amount of storage. You can fold the seats down if you need to. And the last thing to mention is this does come with a spare tire just underneath all of it, and then when you are done with everything in the trunk, you can lock the rest of the car, and then also you just press that, and then that'll lower down the little trunk. Let's finish things up in the rear of the G70. So you can see you've got the 3.3T badging to show that you got the bad boy engine, and the exhaust tips are ovals, whereas on the regular one they're kind of like the weird square things. And I'll do a comparison video so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about, like side by side. But the one thing I do want to mention is this definitely looks like a Mercedes-Benz C-Class. My friend has one, and especially like the taillights, it's almost, yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like if you just like took the badge away, you'd almost mistake it for that. But then the front end looks like the new Sonata, so it's kind of like a mix between both the cars. Now let's come into the rear here. So this is where the stuff gets really cool actually. We've got this nice like silver trim that goes all along here, and then it's got like this quilted leather, which is really neat, and then more of the brown leather in this little area. I love how the speakers look, well at least that top speaker. The bottom one's pretty normal. And then we got the seats, which again have more of that quilted leather, and then it is all brown. And well, we are going to pop in. So popping into the back, it's pretty easy to get in here, and if you're wondering, I'm about 5'11". I've got a decent amount of legroom. In terms of headroom, I mean, I'm kind of like right up at the top pretty much, but it's not bad by any means. And then in this little area, we have the vents back here. We've got a little charging 12 volts, and then we do have some cup holders in this little area and an armrest. And there is something interesting. Look at this. So I can move the seat as like the back passenger. It's just kind of funny. So I guess this passenger has the most luxurious seat in the whole area, because you're like, hey, pleb, move your seat, and then you're like, you know what, I'll just move it for you. That's different, but I love it. Now we do have keyless entry up front, so one touch to lock it, and then it will power fold in the mirrors, and then press it again, and then it'll power fold the mirror back out. Now opening up and looking at the door panel itself, it's identical to the one in the rear. The difference is the speaker's like round right there, and you do get memory seat controls, but all of the materials on the door panel, really nice actually. Now here are the seats in the front, and again they have that quilted design. The bolsters on them are very nice. Power adjustments are on the side of the seat. The pedals are just down here, and I love the look of them. They look very premium. Then you have like your lane departure assistance, your blind spot, gas cap, and then that is for the rear. And the steering wheel is actually automatically adjustable. Now to start it up, all you have to do is put it from the brake, push the push start, and then it'll do a little system check thing, and well, everything will come to life. We are going to zoom out and look at the steering wheel itself. Now, zooming in on things, you can see you've got like your cruise control, and like I said, it does have adaptive cruise control. And then you got like this perforated part, which is grippier, where you're gonna grab it, and on the top is smoother leather. And then you got like the contrasted stitching, which hopefully you can see the coloration on that. Then all of your phone controls, voice command controls. Do get paddles on the back of the steering wheel. And then you got the stock for the lights, and then you have the stock for the windshield wipers. Now, coming into the center here, we do have the RPMs on that side, you got the speed on the other side, and then you do have the center gauge, which, like I said, there's a couple different menus that you can scroll through, just give you different bits of information on the car. Obviously, the performance section is pretty neat that it gives you all that different bit of information on the performance of the car, even though it's supposed to be like a luxury car. Now, you do get drive modes. Got 5 different drive modes. You got like your Smart and Eco, which are both pretty similar actually. Comfort mode, which that's what you're gonna drive it most of the time, and then you have the Sport, which is really nice, and we'll do that in the drive portion. And then Custom, which is obviously customized to what you actually drive like. So pretty simple setup on most of the drive modes too. Now I got the center infotainment system. First off, we're gonna go over the backup camera. So we do get a couple different views on the backup camera. We got the little trajectory lines, and there is a bird's eye view, and then you can click through the menu to see a couple different angles on the car, which is actually really neat because it just makes parking a whole lot easier on this. Now that being said, sadly it does not have the cool like turn signal cameras like some of Hyundai's products have. And then with the rest of the infotainment system itself, response time on it is actually really solid. I mean, you can see it, press it, and everything pretty much happens instantaneously. Some things do have to load up though. You do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is a nice little thing. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything for the center stack. There's a little push button that I showed you earlier. We've got our vents, all of our analog controls for the top portion. And then coming down here, we have the heated steering wheel, heated seats. We've got ventilated seats as well. Again, dual zone climate on this, which again, another nice little luxury touch. And then down here in this little area, we've got like a 12-volt USB, all that kind of stuff. Do have a wireless charging next to it. And then you can cover this up with this little panel right here. Now this is the shifter for the 8-speed automatic. You press in for park, and then you actually have to push the button in to go into drive. So you push it in, pull it down to go into drive. And then if you push it up, it'll go into neutral, but notice it won't go into reverse unless I have the button pushed in. So you do have to push the button to get into drive and reverse, if that makes sense. Cup holders over here, and that's our drive mode select, which I went over the drive modes later. You have stability control, parking sensors, auto hold. You got the little camera view button, so you can go through the different camera views. Parking sensors, and then the center console, which my only gripe with this is just it's kind of shallow, but the materials on it are very nice to the touch. Now opening up the rest of the glove box, it's lined with felts, and yeah, there's a ton of storage space. Now I've got a little sunglass holder, which is actually really nice. I love the headliner on this. It's just very premium feeling. Notice that there is a little sunshade, which yes, I can close that up, and it's automated. Even though it's small enough that they could just do a manual one, they still make it automated, which is nice. And I love the contrast. You got like the black on the top, and notice that the black continues, and then you got kind of like some of the brown and then the brown on the seats. So they do like the contrast between the brown and the black, which I mean, it's just a classy look. Now that we're done with things on the interior, let's quickly go over pricing on this G70 Prestige. So this G70 Prestige with the 3.3 liter twin turbo V6 all-wheel drive, everything that this particular one has, stickers for about $53,000, just a little bit less than that before any type of market adjustment, which I mean, that's crazy to me. That's about the same price as a Kia Stinger, and this is pretty similar to it. Now the Stinger is a little bit of a bigger vehicle, but you have the same engine, same power outputs, similar practicality, about the same price, but then this is like a luxury car, so interesting. But that all being said, let's take the G70 out and see how it drives. We are setting off here in the 2020 G70 Prestige with the 3.3 liter V6, and this is the one that I was excited to drive because I'm excited to see how this compares to the Kia Stinger, believe it or not, because I really like that car, how it drives, and so I just wanted to see how the basically Genesis type version does compared to the Stinger. But initially setting off here, it was just like the Genesis that I just recently drove. I basically drove an entry-level G70. Ride quality on this feels identical. You do feel some of the bumps and all that kind of stuff, and so it's not like the smoothest ride in the world. Taking my first turn here, steering is extremely light, and it actually is relatively direct. Now, before I kind of got interrupted by the traffic there, let's talk about the road noise. Now, you do hear quite a bit from the exhaust, actually. The exhaust is pretty prominent in this car, and speaking of exhaust, we are popping it into sport mode for our acceleration. So you do hear quite a bit of exhaust compared to the 2-liter turbo you can get in this car, and it actually sounds pretty good. Now, we are gonna get our little acceleration here. Oh, that was quick. I could not even go into another gear because I got right up to speed in first gear, basically. Gee, this is quick. I mean, it's just crazy. So I drove a Kia Stinger earlier this year, actually a 2020, and this feels quicker than the Stinger. Like, this is crazy. This is actually a really fun car from an acceleration standpoint, at least. And I think that's all I really need to say on the acceleration. Like, it's adequately quick. Like, I do not feel like this really needs more power. Now, there is a little bit of lag, but once you get into the power, I mean, yeah, it's quick. Once you get into the power, there's a slight lag with the gear shift and the turbos, but yeah, other than that, it's really quick. And let's talk about the other stuff with this car. Now, in terms of like luxury car abilities, right? You could daily drive this. It has the all-wheel drive. The interior is really comfortable. These seats are really comfortable to sit in. I have the air conditioning function on right now, so I am extremely comfortable right now. So luxury car checkpoints, I think it does solid. It has a ton of safety tech as well, and I guess that'll lead me to summing things up. So kind of like I actually said in my review with the base model G70, which I'm not sure which one I'll post first, I think that this is a great value. You get a bunch of safety tech. You get a car that actually performs really well. It does really well as a luxury car. And really the only thing that you're missing out on is the fact that this doesn't have a BMW badge and it doesn't have an Audi badge. But at the same time, you're paying so much less money compared to those other similar cars that it's like, yeah, I don't have one of those badges on the car, but I get so much more car for the money. And so I think that this car is such a great value. And yeah, I think if you can get over the badge engineering, then the G70, especially with this 3.3 liter turbo, is such a solid car to look into. It is crazy, it's quick, and it's fun.
Hello.
Okay, so I've got you on video right now, so don't say anything too silly. Or, I mean, actually, you can say something kind of silly because I'm trying to keep my channel like adult content so that I don't get demonetized by YouTube. But I have a question for you. I'm not going to tell you what car I'm driving. I'm just going to tell you what the car has. And this is because you own a Mercedes, so you own a luxury car. So the car I just drove has quilted leather. It has not a panoramic sunroof, but a pretty big sunroof. Alcantara headliner. It's got heated and cooled seats, backup camera with 360 camera views, and it's got a twin turbo V6. I won't tell you how big it is, but it's a twin turbo V6 with about 370 horsepower and 370 pound-feet of torque. 8-speed automatic transmission, all-wheel drive. Do you think that would be like an awesome luxury car that you'd probably buy?
Probably. I'd for sure buy it. What is it? What'd you just drive?
What if I told you that it was a Hyundai, but...
I was gonna say Genesis. Something along the lines of some kind of Genesis. Was it?
Yeah, it's a G70.
Yeah, dude, I knew it. I was like, okay, well, he's making it a little obvious by telling me I drive a Mercedes. So it's not gonna be anything European. It's gonna be the one thing I'm not gonna think of, and the one thing I would never think of is Hyundai. So, nailed it.
And that is going to sum things up for our video on the G70 in the Prestige trim package. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Hyundai in Southtown / Genesis in Sandy. Kind of interesting, but regardless, I'm going to include a link to the inventory on the Genesis inventory and then also their Hyundai inventory. If you're interested in either, definitely check them out. And then as always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. I will see all of you in that next video.